Today's episode, I want to talk with you about how to set up a homeschool room. Now, this is not going to be how to make it really beautiful and what things to buy and how to design it. I'm going to go like functional. If you remember, we talked a few weeks ago about the 4 phases of kind of organizing and setting up your room and creating it to be an awesome space. And I'm on step 3 with our homeschool room. So I'm going to peel back the curtains about what we're doing and how we got there to hopefully give you some ideas about how to set up not only, a homeschool space, but any room in your house. This is just going to be a good deep dive example into that. Now, if you are needing help with wondering how to find ideas about what you want to create or what matters to you in this, I recommend checking out thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/vision to help you create your vision for the year, because spoiler alert, that really is the first step to pretty much everything that you're going to do. Because we got to get clear about what matters to you, what's important for you and your family. And, with homeschooling, honestly, it starts with vision. So check out thrivinginmotherhoodpodcast.com/vision today. And now let's get into designing our homeschool space. Now, the very first thing we had to do before I even got to think about bins or whatever we want in our homeschool room was figure out what we actually wanted to do for our homeschooling. Now, I've shared in the past, probably been a year now. I don't know, maybe 6 months. I don't know what we do for our homeschooling, and we've evolved. I take this principle of going slow to make it stick and getting a little bit better and a little bit better involved in all aspects of my life, but including homeschooling. And so if you want to know more details about what we're homeschooling right now, let me know. But a brief overview of kind of where we're at so you can understand how the steps flow is right now we've gotten really good at every day I do reading and math with each of my children one-on-one, the oldest 3. And my 3rd and 4th child, I also typically just like play a game with them. Go Fish is the current favorite. And then I also do grammar, writing, and spelling, and we do those all as a family. It just kind of depending on, different levels for each of my kids. And that is maybe like the core of what we've done every day, and we've gotten really good at that. We've been doing that for a few months now. And we do that with I read The Well-Trained Mind. I highly recommend that book. I read it a few years ago and I was like, this does not resonate with me. And lo and behold, now, a few years later, I'm like, this is incredible. Why did I not just do this from the beginning? So I use that book, and then now that melds really well. Honestly, this idea of a classical education, that's what the Well-Trained Mind is based on, is the classical education philosophy. Also mixed with Charlotte Mason for us. They go together, but Charlotte Mason has like 20 subjects or so. And so right now we're growing into expanding our subjects. When my kids were little, like when I had 6 and under, we were really good at hitting lots of subjects, hours of outdoor time, and really followed those early years of the Charlotte Mason philosophy. And then as I had kids, now we need to spend time being consistent with school and doing skill work and learning how to read and learning how to do math. That kind of became the focus. And now I've got enough kids that are sort of reading that I can wrap my head around kind of molding those 2 of our lifestyles together and coming out with a really beautiful kind of Charlotte Mason classical philosophy while still having a toddler in the mix. Okay. So it's a little bit messy, but that is where we're at. And so now that I have an idea of where I want to go, the second thing was to decide what I need in that space. Now, our homeschool room is just off. I don't know. We've got basically 4 tiny quadrants in our house and in our main area downstairs, and then the bedrooms upstairs. But one of those we've dubbed the homeschool room. And for a long time, I had everything that was related to homeschooling in that space. And what was so frustrating is that I would go in there and it was like every day I had to remember, redecide, refigure out what we were doing. And so I decided, you know what? We are going to just take everything out. Everything that I am not using right now is going to go into a closet. Now, that was only made possible, side note, because I've discovered how to put shelves in closets. I should have a whole conversation with you about closets because they're my new passion. But anyway, because we'd figure out a different part of our house, I now have the opportunity to take out the things that we're using and put them into a top shelf in one of my kids' closets, so that we just have now downstairs what is available or what we actually want to use. So now there's less decision. So on one side, I now have a homeschool closet with our school binders. Each kid has their own shelf. So they each have a shelf, and on there they've got organizers for their binders. There's one for literature and for writing and memory work. There's one for history and copy work, and we've got one for math. So they've got their binders. They've got oh, this is what we did. This was brilliant. I've tried so many iterations of this, but basically there's all these beautiful shots of homeschool families that have like, you know, a shared thing for the colored pencils and crayons and writing, and it always just stays in a nice place. Well, in my house, nothing stays where it's supposed to if it's not nailed down. So what I did is I went to the dollar store and I got every kid a bin, and I put pencils in that bin, erasers in that bin, and pencil sharpener in that bin, and that bin goes on their shelves, and we labeled everything. And so now they know those things actually do have to stay in the closet. So that goes on their shelf. And what that means now is anytime we're ready to sit down and do work, they have all of their stuff for their binders, all of their things to write with, and a basket we're doing knitting right now for their handicrafts, all on their shelf. So all of that skill work that requires stuff for what we do as a family is in a cabinet that the kids and I built, actually. And we can pull it out and do our schoolwork at the table. The other thing that's in there is I do have some content shelves. So one of those like IKEA pack shelves or something. I think maybe ours is the Walmart knockoff version, Better Homes and Gardens, but either way, we in that area have a shelf with like our language stuff, so they can do Spanish and pull out in French. They love pulling out the CDs and listening to them. We've got one for our nature study and the nature study resources and books that we have. I've got one with poetry and literature that we pull out, and we do it as a family. And then they've got spot for projects and dress up things in there as well. But basically, it's like those are the resources that we're going to use, that we're going to pull out as we're doing school as a family, and those are the things that happen in that room. Now, side note, math and reading and all of those things we do not do downstairs. I do them upstairs in their bedroom with their kids one-on-one, where there's nobody else to distract them. So I cleared out a part of our closet, of our like linen closet, and pulled all those things out and put up all of our math manipulatives from Right Start Math. I put up their reading books from All About Reading, and that is where that is kept, which is convenient because we have our copier upstairs, and so I can copy math pages for them. So I have gotten good at separating things based on location of where we do things. But back to our homeschool room. Okay, I just blended it together. So the third one is to organize for ease of use. Okay, and so that's what I just described. Once I removed everything out we didn't need, and I identified what we were using, that's where I went and then organized things into the cupboard, into the cube shelves upstairs. And then I also have our scripture memory box, and I have our scriptures and what we do for, studying the Bible, and for studying, we've got the 24 family ways from the Clarkson family, all in our dining room or our kitchen area where we eat every single meal, those are the things we do at the table. So I've got those 3 spaces where I keep our homeschool materials that are designed. Now, as far as organizing for the ease of access, here is what I recommend, because I had 0 organizational abilities. I didn't know where to find the stuff. I didn't want to spend money on those beautiful containers. It felt like high stakes. So this is what I highly recommend doing. I've done it so many times now, which is go to the dollar store and buy their bins for $1.25. They've got tons of different shapes and sizes, and it gives you a chance to experiment and play with things that are low stakes. That's where I found their baskets for their handicrafts. At Walmart, I was able to find the shelves for the binders for like $1 a little bit. But I buy the low quality plastic stuff because I'm still learning and I want to trial things out. Now, there's things that we've been using for a long time, and I know that the system works, and I see something that I want to upgrade, and I go for it. But right now we have an entire house to organize. So I am in the let's get functionality in place. And it's great if you have a different philosophy. If you have a bigger budget than me, that's awesome. But this is how I've been able to maximize our dollars and functionality of our spaces. And with that, be able to create some nice spaces. So I will say, though, if you are looking for things with lids that close, this is my best tip. Lids that close, I highly recommend. I have now tried them at Dollar Store. I've tried them at Walmart. I've tried them at IKEA, and I've tried them at Target, and hands down, Target has the best solution because they are slightly bigger, the lids lock well, and they stack the best. So and they're the sturdiest. Out of all of those options for about the same price range, I recommend the Target brand bins. So that's what I do. Organize it based on category and how I want kids to use it. So I really think through like, okay, I put those, our Spanish resources on an open shelf with our CD player because I know that I want the kids